funeral. A very heavy police presence. Good morning. I'm Steve Kathan with the CBS World News Roundup. Dangerous extremes in two parts of the country. A fierce blizzard and deadly wildfires. First, in California, CBS's Carter Evans tells us forecasters say up to 12 feet of wind-driven snow could fall over the Sierra Nevada this weekend.
The massive Sierra snowstorm moves into the Berkeley Central Sierra Snow Lab, lead scientist Andrew Schwartz.
Now we're starting to get those bigger, fluffier snowflakes coming down.
Schwartz says we could see up to 5 inches an hour at the peak of the blizzard.
We're looking at 2, potentially 3 days of these very high wind speeds that are going to be blowing the snow around and making conditions outside very dangerous.
Some areas could see more than 10 feet of snow. Grocery store owner Shannon Parrish says she can tell people here in Truckee, California are concerned about the storm by the way they're shopping.
Everyone's stocking up on staples and planning on having enough food for the whole weekend.
Now to the Texas Panhandle, where at least 2 people have been killed and dozens of homes destroyed by fires. Jason Allen from CBS Texas has more.
The Smokehouse Creek fire is now the largest in Texas history and has burned more than 1 million acres.
It was like Armageddon at the end of the world.
In Fritch, Brian Hightower says she and her family almost didn't make it out of their house in time.
Then harshly was engulfed in a matter of seconds.
Her home is among dozens that burned to the ground just in Fritch. Tyler McCain and his family are still trying to figure out what's wrong.
I like to eat the house. You want your house?
That was his 3-year-old daughter's eerie reaction to the sad news.
It's heartbreaking, not just for me and my family, but all the other families.
Overseas, a funeral today for Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny in Moscow. CBS's Ramy Inocencio. Alexei Navalny, the face of Russia's opposition movement, laid to rest at 47 years old. His mother claimed Russian authorities withheld his body right after he died. His supporters say funeral directors and even hearse drivers have been threatened from working on today's farewell. This morning, outside the church on the snowy outskirts of Moscow, riot police assembled to put down any protests, while barriers lined the perimeter. In Gaza, Israel is defending itself against Palestinian allegations that its forces massacred hungry civilians yesterday. More than 100 people died when soldiers opened fire for the crowded food convoy. CBS's Imtiaz Kayab.
At Gaza City's barely functioning hospital, doctors told CBS News the majority of the dead were from gunshot wounds. We ran towards the food aid, said eyewitness Anwar Halwa. The Israeli soldiers then started firing at us until we left the food and ran. There's been widespread global condemnation of the attack, which Palestinian leaders are calling a heinous massacre.
Israel says many of the dead were trampled in a crush for the food aid, and troops only fired when they felt endangered by the crowd. Back here at home, correspondent Nancy Cordes has more on the southern border visits yesterday by former President Trump and President Biden.
This is a Joe Biden invasion.
In Eagle Pass, Donald Trump slammed President Biden for rolling back his executive order, noting that illegal crossings hit a record last year.
So we had remained in Mexico. Remember that? We released them in Mexico. We need to act. It's time for the speakers and some of my Republican friends in Congress for blocking this bill to show a little spine.
In Brownsville, Mr. Biden accused Trump of seeking a tough new bipartisan deal that the White House hammered out with senators last month.
Here's what I would say to Mr. Trump. Instead of telling members of Congress to block this legislation, join me, or I'll join you, in telling the Congress to pass this bipartisan border security bill. We can do it together.
A new report's just out on the state of Black America, assessing economic and social factors. Blacks give a score of 76, with 100 being considered full equality. Mark Morial, the president of the National Urban League, on CBS Morning.
We look at 300 data sets. Those data sets include everything from unemployment rate, death rate, health insurance pickup rates. When we put them all together, they are in an index. And so the comparative would be, let's look at family income. Median family income for black, maybe $45,000, maybe for white, $75,000. That 75% represents a little bit of a change, but at that rate, we're 180 years away from parity.
It's 5 minutes after the hour.
Well, that's today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did